very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society.
Politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice.
Everything you read in the mainstream media is 100% true.
Hey everyone, it's Mike Tubbs with Chopperprophets, and I'm here tonight on location at Pacific Coast Cycles, and I'm talking to the Mike O'Brien. Welcome, Mike.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's awesome. I'm glad that you set aside some time for us to be able to do this interview. You know, there's a lot of people that I interview that are new to the scene. I mean, within the last 10 years, they've been, trying to build bikes or building bikes, and even successfully, and showing them and shows like Born Free and some of these other shows that come up, and it's awesome to get the perspective of someone who's been doing this for a long time. Tell us just a little bit about how your life started out. I mean, even from the youngest age that you can remember, what life was like growing up in your house. And
well, basically it was, didn't have a lot of money. I've been working since I was 9 years old. I didn't have like a regular normal childhood because I worked, most of my life. And the way the bike thing started was I lived with my mom over off of Temple and 11th, and I went to the store for her, which was a Cinnabar. It was a Cinnabar and then the liquor store next door. And as I walked around the corner, there was like a bike shop that just, it was like nighttime, and it was like insane. He had a 45 trike. He had all these bikes in the window. It just blew me away. And I was a little kid. And anyway, long story short, I went there the next day and I started talking to the guy. His name was Bill. And I started hanging around the shop. And I was like fascinated. I mean, I couldn't tell you the difference between a Harley and that light right there, but I was fascinated from the first time I seen it to right now.
Yeah.
And anyway, long story short, I met a guy there by the name of Lonnie Johnson, and he was like, he worked out for the Mr. America contest. He was like insane, nicest guy you ever met. And the way it actually all started was he was doing a panhead trike for the San Bernardino car show.
Okay.
And it was insane. It was all stretched out. Now, this is back in the day when, it was like the bike was like stretched, or the trike was stretched out. It had a, authentic panhead motor in it, a 4-speed kick with a tin primary, and he was doing all the molding on it. And I said, man, dude, I said, that really looks cool. I'd like to learn how to do it. And he's like, well, you want to learn how to do it because it looks like it's fun, or you want to learn how to do it and really don't waste my time, but really do it.
Right.
Well, from that day to now, from the first time he showed me how to mix Bondo and lay it on the trike and then sand it and block it, that's how I originally started out painting. That was my thing, custom painting. And I was fortunate enough to be able to hang around. Back in those days, it's not like it is now, the best of the best of the best that gave me $1 million education.
Yeah.
When I first started painting, we used nitrocellulose lacquer. We bought a standard brand and then color sand and buffed everything out. And anyway, I got to meet some pretty interesting people, some talented guys that worked for Larry Watson, George Barris. These guys like had little things going on the side and was nice enough to show me. And then, like I say, after a while, I was doing like, flames, scallops, candies,
Right.
all these different things, and that's how it all started.
About what year do you think that was?
That was like, I'm gonna say, when I actually first, I'm gonna say, late 70s.
Okay.
But then, like I say, for a while, I got out of doing anything with bikes, and I actually. Alex's bar. There used to be a bar next door called Valentine's, and I was a cook there. Okay. And me and my ex got in a deal anyway. I wound up moving out, and I believe it or not, I rented a one-car garage in the alley behind her place, and I wound up moving into it. And I don't know. I just was in that garage hanging out and cooking, and and then that actually turned into like I was there for 14 years, and I went from a one-car garage to taking a shower in a bucket. It was crazy to like 14 garages, and I was like, I got into the export business when it ground level when it first started, and it went off. It went insane. Then I started dealing with Germany, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, everywhere.
Were you shipping bike parts, or were you just exporting anything?
I was shipping bikes.
Okay.
Because see, here's the problem, and it's a big one. These guys were coming over here, and see, I get to know them. We become friends, and they could trust me. To this day, I have the same buyers, and if I wanted them to wire me $100,000 in my account, it wouldn't be a question asked. They just do it because they know that So a lot of those guys were getting ripped off. Guys, they were wiring money to guys and not getting the product. Losing a lot of money. But anyway, back in those days, you ain't gonna believe it. I'm gonna tell you this, and you're gonna fall off that chair. But you could buy, and I bought probably, no exaggeration, 100 knuckleheads. You could buy a box stock, beautiful, absolutely perfect mint knucklehead, stock everything, never been touched, $3,500.
Wow.
$3,000.
Yeah, you can't even touch a basket case
No,
knucklehead for that nowadays.
You couldn't touch the heads off of one for what I bought, and anyway, so I'm doing the export thing, and I'm custom painting, everything's going good. I'm getting busier and busier and busier and busier and busier, and then I decided there was a shop called Clover Custom. The guy's name was Pete Peasy, and he was a brilliant businessman. Anyway, I'm working out of this alley. I have no business license, no resale license, no nothing, but I'm doing a phenomenal amount of business. And I used to go to Clover Custom. He had a block-long shop where he sold parts, and I used to ask him, like, "Hey, Pete, how do you do this? I mean, I want to go out on the street, be legit, get a business license, a resale number. I don't even know how to start or whatever."
Right.
And anyway, he gave me $1 million education. He was nice enough to like walk me through the whole process. And one of the things he told me, and from the day he told me to this day, he said, as you start coming up in business, and this is where a lot of guys, and I bought out so many guys in my lifetime, I couldn't count them all, but here's the problem. You get a successful business, and like my business, people are throwing stuff at you. Hey, I had the vice president of Custom Chrome when I had my other shop come down. He saw my shop, and he told me, he says, "Look," he goes, "we'll give you chassis, and you can build them with the motors, sell them, and then pay us." Well, Pete taught me from day one, everything in this building, every bike I own, all my clothing line, everything, I own it.
Okay.
Everything, I mean, that's the main thing, is I pay my insurance, my mortgage on this building, and my utilities, but, I mean, I don't get nothing from nobody unless it's paid for. No 30-day credit, no spring dating, none of that kind of stuff. And believe me, it works.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the problem is it's like I have a lot of health issues. I got everything you can imagine wrong with me, and everything's going good, and you got credit out for 15 people, and you owe $1 trillion, and the next thing you know, I'm laying in a hospital. I've had a triple bypass, 5 stents in my heart. I got B-cell lymphoma cancer. I got carotid arteries, so I'm laying in a hospital. And you think these people are going to go, "Well, hey, Mike, we'll wait a few months until you." No, they're going to go, "Hey, where's our money, man?
Right.
We gave you the product." Well, see, the way I deal with it is all cash. It's all paid for. It's all mine. And if I want to close these doors tomorrow morning and never come back in this building, I can do it.
You can do it,
I don't have to worry about. But I mean, it's it's been insane, man. I never realized. I swear to you, I never realized that my whole entire life would be consumed by Harley Davidson. Like the business, my whole life. I mean, I've been doing it my whole entire life, and I'm going to tell you, coming up, when I lived in that one-car garage and I took a shower in a bucket, I got credit from the liquor store. I'd get some ragu and a piece of cake, and I'd lay there and I cook my ragu, and with a hot plate, and I eat. I never dreamed, that things would turn out the way, that it would just keep progressing and compress, bigger, to where, it's insane. But
tell us a little bit about, because you've spent most of your life, or all your life, I guess at this point, working on Harleys, dealing with Harleys. Tell us a little bit about your experience with Harley Davidson, because I know we were talking a little bit before. Right. If you're comfortable talking about that,
I don't mind.
Just share your experience with kind of your experience through your life about Harley Davidson.
Okay, well, here, let's start out by saying this. First of all, a lot of people don't realize that Harley Davidson came this close, like Indian, from going out of business. Why? From 1970 to 1984, they built dinosaur shovel heads that leaked, pissed, barely got out of the way of themselves, while the Japanese markets are building these insane, high-tech bikes. Well, what saved Harley Davidson was the Evolution motorcycle, and I remember the day they came out, and that changed the whole industry. But when they came out, I had a store on Pacific Coast Highway now. I'm in the street, I'm all legit, and I sold tons and tons and tons of Harley Davidson products, and T-shirts, belt buckles, pins, wallets, everything. And I buy it. I mean, nothing bootleg. I bought the same exact shirts that L.A. Harley bought, but only with my logo from the same company. And anyway, as Harley Davidson came up, as they got bigger and bigger, they called me up one day, Bill Wood, Trademark Enforcement, and said, somebody was in my store, I don't know who, but they took pictures and they're telling me I got this and this and this and this. Yeah. So then they wrote me a cease and desist order, and I complied. I got rid of everything, the Harley shirts, the belt buckles. Anyway, I tried to call the guy back, Bill Woods, and he wouldn't reply. So I just shined it on, and then the next thing you know, I'm getting letters from corporate. They're going to sue me. They're turning it over to their attorney. I don't give a shit. I complied.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, like I said, to tell you how chicken shit Harley is, I was dealing with L.A. Harley, and years ago they had an international department, and you could buy Harley frames, cases, tranny cases, nothing like now where you got to have, you got to cut off your neck or have whatever. But right. Yeah, I was buying 20 frames. I buy, I went in L.A. Harley. How many tranny cases you got? 40, 50. I'd buy them all cash. I was buying tons and tons and tons of parts. Well, the way all this came down is after I talked to Bill Woods, he wouldn't reply after I complied with him. I got a call from the owner of L.A. Harley, and he goes, Mike, look, I hate to be in the middle of your problem. He goes, but Harley told me that I can't sell you no more stuff until you comply with them, and gave me the phone number to the guy to talk to. So I called the guy up, and he was the nicest guy I ever talked to in my life.
The guy at Harley? The
guy at Harley, yeah, at Milwaukee. Okay. Yeah. So I told him what happened between me and Bill Wood. I said I complied. So anyway, long story short, I shot pictures of the shop, the store, that everything's gone. I sent them to the guy, and then anyway, everything was fine. Everything was dropped. And I talked to this guy 3 or 4 times because he was so knowledgeable. We talked about knuckleheads and panheads and all these different bikes and different things. Well, at the end of the conversation, I said, by the way, buddy, I said, it's kind of chicken shit. I said, a Harley dealership has astronomical overhead, and I just think it was like kind of wrong for you guys to tell Dave that he can't sell to me no more until I straighten this out. And he's like, what are you talking about? I told him what Dave told me. He goes, no. We called Dave, just asked him about you. And then he jumps up with, I'm going to call him, and I'm going to this, and I'm going to tell him, he ain't going to buy from me until... And then another thing, part of the story, is when Dave called me up from L.A. Harley, the first thing he told me, he goes, I understand you representing your shop as a dealership. And I told him just like this, point blank, because I remember like it was yesterday. I said, Dave, if he got a 45 and put it up to the side of my head and was going to pull the trigger, unless I represented my shop as a dealership, I'd tell you to pull the trigger. And if I wanted a dealership, I would have had one years ago. But there's too many rules, too many regulations, too much bullshit. You got to go by their, like at one time, this was amazing. The overseas business was beyond anything you can even imagine. And when guys were going to buy new Harleys, and you can believe me or not, from overseas or whatever, or I mean not from overseas, from here, they were going up buying brand new bikes. They had to sign an affidavit promising that they won't ship the bike overseas.
Wow.
Harley made them sign. I swear to God, I'm not kidding you, man. It was like, it was insane.
Well, that was the main part of your business too. At one point, right? You were building bikes and sending them over.
No, I
overseas.
wasn't. No. I wasn't building them. I was buying them.
Buying them. Okay.
See, at one time, I used to dream about, look, man, someday I'm going to have the money to be able to buy a Harley, and then I'm going to sell it and get. Well, that day happened, and I had a Harley. But like I say, I started meeting all these exporters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I put the Harley up online, or no, there was no online crap then, but
Not yet.
I put the bike up. You know, matter of fact, it was God Almighty, what was
Motorcycle Trader.
No,
Recycler?
the recycler.
Yeah.
That's where I got my calls, and then I started meeting these overseas buyers. Anyway, I sold the bike, and then it just shot up like insane.
Wow.
And then what these guys were having me do, they were having me find bikes, and then they'd wire me the money or wire the money to somebody over here, and then they'd bring me the money, and then I'd give them the bike. And then it just went. I'm telling you, then it just went to the point to where it was like, I can't even tell you. It was insane.
Yeah.
You know, the only sad part about it is, is you go to the swap meet now, and you see a set of knuckleheads sitting there for $3,000 that look like they came out of the bottom of the ocean. Well, I'm one of the assholes responsible for that because I send them all overseas, and I never thought. I'm making killer money, and I'm never thinking, well, this is going to come to an end someday, and it's going to skyrocket this. You know, I didn't think that way. I was just thinking, hey, I'm making money. Well, you know, it just, I don't know. It just.
I'm sure at that point you weren't thinking ahead. You weren't thinking,
no.
what are there going to be the repercussions of this? You were thinking, I got to make bills and or pay bills and.
Well, it's like I'll tell you a quick story.
Okay.
This is going back. Used to be you could buy House of Color paint in a spray can, all the candy blues, reds, blah. Well, this is I bought who would think? I bought a 1955 Chevy two-door hardtop Bel Air. My brother worked in a gas station on 4th and Atlantic, 616 East 4th Street. I parked the car on the side of the building. I sanded the dash down, right, practicing, because I wanted to paint so bad. Blew it all off, cleaned it all off, primered it, sanded the primer, and then I shot a gold base, and then I shot it a candy oriental blue, right? Came out cool, man. Cleared it all out of a can. I mean, amateur shit, but all right. And when I was done with that car, I swear on my skin, I junked it for $90.
Wow.
I swear to God. But back in those days, it was like the knucklehead, buying the knuckleheads. I bought a 1954 Chevy two-door hardtop, copper and white, that you would absolutely fall down. It was smoking. I got 6 tickets for smoking. I drove it into the junkyard, got $50 for it, then took the junk slip to the judge and cleared the tickets.
Whoa.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, man.
Things were a little bit different back then too, with cops and courts and all that stuff.
Yeah, and then, but like I say, you never think a 55 Chevy Bel Air two-door hardtop is going to sell for $70 grand.
Right.
You're junking them for $90. It's like, but some people were smart and had the foresight to I know a few people that bought back then and they still have the stuff.
Yeah.
It's like amazing, but I didn't do that. I just
Because you have a passion that was evolving. You were painting and then went from one thing to the next, and you were onto motorcycles, and I mean you're probably not thinking, I'm going to do this one all up and put it aside. Right. You're thinking, okay, I'm finished with it, now move on.
Yeah, exactly.
What things preceded your original shop on Pacific Coast? What things led up to that? Events that led up to that?
Well, I'll tell you, man, and it's a heartbreaking story. Pete Peasy, the guy that I just told you that I got all the advice from. As a matter of fact, Bruce, who just passed away, my mechanic, he worked for him back then. And anyway, Pete got into drugs and alcohol like no human being on this planet. Yeah. And he was like wigging out. He was staying up 6 days at a time. Bruce said, Pete called him one night and told him, don't come in the shop. Whatever you do, there's metal boring bugs going through my skin. Wow. He was losing it.
Wow.
Well, here's the deal. Now I'm thinking to myself, I mean, I love Pete. He was the greatest guy in the world, and it kills me what happened to him. But I'm saying, you know what? I got to make the move.
Yeah.
I got to get out. And I had this friend. His name is Jack. And he had Smitty's Auto Parts on the corner of Stanley and PCH. And what he did is it was a big shop, and he closed half of it off, and he was going to rent it. Mm-hmm. And I hit him up, and he's like, yeah, man, no problem. Well, the mistake I made is this guy by the name of Jim Shrewsbury, he's a welder. He wrecked his bike. Mm-hmm. Well, he brought it to my garage. Somebody told him about me anyway. Long story short, he was a welder for Chevron. And he brought me the bike, and I completely tore it. I completely redid the bike, done. Anyway, in the same time, we're talking and everything. I'm thinking, you know what, maybe I should get a partner, because this is a big adventure, Worst mistake I ever made. Like I say, the main thing that sealed the deal was he was putting his house. He had a condo in Huntington Beach, and he was going to put it up, get a loan on his condo to come in with me on the shop.
Right.
I already had the money to do it. So anyway, we sealed the deal, everything, and the place was still not finished. Mm-hmm. And anyway, I told Jim, I said, here's what we're going to do. I said, we're going to pay Jack first and last month's rent. We're going to pay 6 months in advance, and if we can't do it in 6 months, we shut it down. Agreed. So we did it. Anyway, we took over the construction of the deal, because Jack told me, he goes, when do you think you're going to be in here? I go, 30 days. He goes, no way. No way. 30 days later, we were open, had a little thing. Yeah, but the worst mistake was, pulling in the partner. I wound up buying him out.
Yeah.
But that's a long story. But yeah. But the thing, the incentive that got me to, step up was the fact that my career was. I mean, there is no way on God's green earth anybody could have done what I did in a one-car garage, turning it into 14 garages. I'm spraying more. I painted everything, and I'm telling you the God's truth. Mm-hmm. From fingernail polish I made for chicks to a semi-truck that the guy backed into my place in between two poles. He backed in the semi, and I turned around and I shot it white, and then I did all the graphics on the sleeper and everything. From that, I'm telling you, now if you tried that, your ass would be in prison, because now they got the EPA, the blah 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 blah. They'd be down there. They got people they pay to drive around and look for people illegal painting and everything. Yeah. But see, the bad part about it was, see, I had like spray guns. Now check it out. I had a primer gun. I had a clear gun. I had a candy gun. I had a metallic gun. I had all these different guns, right? Right. And then. Every time I shot a job, okay, I used the base gun, I based everything out. Then I would use the candy gun. Well, after I shot the paint, I had 1556 wash thinner, and I would, clean the gun out, like this, pour it in a coffee can, and then take more, until it gets a little bit cleaner, pour it in the can. Then I would turn around and pour it in, and then squirt some out of the tip, squirt it out, and then I would take the gun completely apart. And I had a 1 gallon can with a thinner can that I took and opened it up and poured it full of thinner. Well, I would take the gun completely apart and drop it into thinner, and I would turn around and clean the gun so you could eat off of it. But little did I know, when I'm dipping my arms in there, that's how I got cancer.
Oh man!
All the chemicals, I breathe more paint than any person on this planet, and that's how I wound up, because I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't, when I first got it, it's like, man, how in the hell did I do this, man? Yeah. And then I started thinking, man, you kidding me? the chemicals oh my God, man.
Well, let's, if you don't mind, talking a little bit about your cancer and just how the journey has been so far, and kind of where you're at with that. Because I know that the goal of this podcast has been, to tell the story of people's lives. Right. And I know that people have listened to this podcast, on various different occasions, and there's always something that resonates with somebody. And I don't know, maybe something from your life is going to resonate with somebody.
Well, here's how it all started. First of all, I got a bad heart. All my problems started when I was 48. I had a heart attack. I was at Coco's with a friend of mine. We were eating, and it was freezing like it's been here. You know how cold? I ate, and all of a sudden I'm just like, oh my God, man, what the hell? I'm getting all hot and I'm tripping, man. Like, what the hell's going on? And my buddy Ron, he goes, you all right? I go, I don't know. I don't feel good, man. Anyway, so we leave, and we get out in the parking lot. Man, I take off my shirt. I take off my T-shirt. I leave my shirt wide open, windows down. And Ron's going, man, dude, what the hell's wrong with you? I don't know, dude, but I don't know. I feel like I'm going to pass out. He goes, you want me to take you to the hospital? I said, no. Anyway, he drops me off, and at the time I had this guy's Dodge truck on consignment. So I couldn't handle it, man. I got in that truck and I went to St. Mary's. Well, long story short, as soon as they rushed me right into it like cold blue.
Wow. I
had a heart attack. That was my first thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, after that heart attack, I had another one. Okay. So then I had to, I was like, it was like blowing my mind. I'm like, wow. Well, then congestional heart failure runs in my family.
Okay.
So, anyway, I got a cardiologist, and he does the dye in my groin and everything.
Yeah.
He goes, Mike, we got to get you in the hospital like now. You've plugged up, and I said I can't because my son who passed away, he got in trouble. He was a juvenile. And I had to go to court with him, and I said, I can't. I can't go in. He goes. The thing about it is, he goes, look, my next appointment is like February 4th, and he goes, I'm going to tell you the truth. You might not be alive.
Wow.
That's how bad you. I go, well, I got a chance. Anyway, I did. I got the triple bypass, and then and then as time went on, my heart was bad. I get a stent. Well. All of a sudden, out of the blue, it's the weirdest thing, man. It's like, I swear to God, my stomach came out to here, like an alcoholic when they swell up when they're, I don't drink, never have. Occasional beer, I don't even finish it. Well, something's wrong. Now I can't eat food, I can't swallow it, it comes back. So I had to go in for another stent. So when I went into to get the stent, okay, I told them what was going on with my stomach. And they did a sonogram, like when you have a baby. I said, I'm tripping, And they did the sonogram, and then they told me, they said, well, something's in there, but we can't tell. So what they did, they had me drink this shit called barium.
Yeah.
And it is the worst, I swear to God. Every other drink, I barked. Anyway, I got it down, and then they put me in the big tube.
Yeah.
And did the MRI or whatever. So then she says, you got a tumor. It's a 15 by 15 mass basketball-sized tumor.
Wow.
And she goes, we're going to do a biopsy and see if it's cancerous. So this is man, this is a trip. I don't know if you ever went through this, but like three times in my life, I didn't know. I mean, I was up to see if I was going to die. Yeah. And I wasn't tripping. I'm not afraid to die. Everybody does it. But the problem is my daughter. I'm tripping on my daughter and my kid. I'm like, man, if I die. So anyway.
Yeah.
Anyways, they do a biopsy on the tumor, and I'm waiting, right? They call me, and everybody's saying, hey, Mike, man, dude, it's a tumor. They can take it out in 5 minutes, man. It's not. I said, dude, it's me, dude. It's Michael O'Brien.
Yeah.
I got the luck. I'm telling you, bigger than shit. Call me up. Yeah, Mr. O'Brien, you got B-cell lymphoma cancer. The tumor is and you got in your lymph nodes. We don't know what stage.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? We don't know what stage? Now get ready for this.
Okay.
I had to go in and do a bone marrow biopsy.
Oh.
And if anybody's listening to what I'm saying and ever had one done, I'm telling you, man, I got a strong tolerance for pain. I had to have it done at St. Mary's. They did it over there. I go into the room. The guy turns around and I take my shirt off, pull up my T-shirt, and then he pulls my pants down to the bottom of my spine, and he takes a needle like this long, and he sticks it in my back to numb it. Then he takes another one and goes right down to my spine. Okay, now my back's numb, but it hurt, like I'm all like that, Then he takes something that looks like a T-handle Allen wrench, and then he turns around and sticks it in my back, and until he broke into my spine and pulled the bone marrow out. Well, dude, come on, man.
Yeah.
Throw that engine out. Hit me with a bus. It was like, and when the test was done, I told the guy, I said, you know something, buddy? I said, I got a strong tolerance for pain, but you took me over the edge. He goes, well, I'm going to tell you something. You're a tough dude, because I'm telling you, most people, they're screaming. I go, well, hey, I wanted to, believe me. So anyway, next part of the story is it takes 3 weeks to find it. See, stage 1 is like little chemo, you're done. Stage 2 is worse. Stage 3 is what I had. 4 and 5. 5, you're done. They can keep you alive for a little while. 4, you're going to be on chemo for, but I was stage 3. But I didn't find out. See, that's what I'm saying. They did the bone marrow biopsy, but how long do I have to live? If I'm in stage 5, I got to pack my shit, I'm done, but I'm worried about my daughter was young,
Right.
Anyway, I was stage 3, and I had to do 8 sessions of chemotherapy.
Wow.
And I had to do the real aggressive chemo. And and the tumor, the tumor, to add to the story, was wrapped around my intestines, so they can't take it out. They have to shrink it. So they shrunk it with chemo, and it was horrific. They see, what happens is when I go in to do the chemotherapy, before you do the chemo, they turn around and they give you a consultation, and they go, well, Mike, it's like this. It's a roller coaster ride. You're kind of up, you're kind of down, you're kind of up, you're kind of down. It's, but it's really not all that, Dude, let me tell you something. First thing, if you're going to do chemotherapy, like I did, lock up your guns. You get so depressed. Second thing is eating and drinking. Those are the 2 things that you lose.
Yeah.
It's like, as a matter of fact, you can believe me or not, I'm telling you the God's truth. I came this close to dying in Memorial Hospital. They had to bring me back. They gave me too much chemo too fast. I walked out here from my house, because I live back there, out here to the shop, and the only thing I remember, or the last thing, my daughter's waking me up screaming. I got a knot on my head this big, and my arms like this, bent over. I passed out. Wow. Anyway, so then I go to the doctor, and I told her what happened, or not. My doctor's Jonathan Blitzer. He wrote the book on cancer, but his nurse, or whatever, that does his deal, his appointments. I told her what happened, and as I'm talking to her, it sounded like a tunnel, like like she's talking to me, and I'm like in a tunnel. And the next thing you know, the paramedics are waking me up with smelling salts and put me on a gurney, and they rushed me over to Memorial, and dude, I was done. It's weird, because I'm going to tell you this. It's a trip, because this is something that blew me away. You see people dying. You see people on the edge. You see people like right there. Because I'm telling you, dude, I swear, I was right there. But I'm going to tell you this, man. My body shut down. It shut down little by little. They're pumping me with every kind of thing, dude. I got IVs on top of IV. My body's shutting down. And then when I was that far away, dude, from just closing my eyes and just saying, we're good. The amazing thing was, my mind was just as sharp as I'm sitting here talking to you.
Wow.
I'm in there, dude. I'm this far away from death, and I'm thinking, man, dude, I got so much shit to do at the shop, man. I wish I can get up and go. My mind is just as sharp. Wow. Anybody look at me?
Yeah.
They think,
He's done.
He's done. But my mind, so that kind of like that kind of like trips me out because it's like you see people dying, but like I say, I was there twice, but like I say, my mind is. But I'll tell you what saved me through the cancer. I'm going to tell you this real quick. Okay, I'm 100% anti-drug. I won't take a drug. I wrote out my open heart surgery. I got in an argument with the doctor. I went over there. I mean, I'm cut up. I get in an argument with my doctor. He goes, "How you feeling, Mike?" I go, "I'm feeling fine, except for I'm in a lot of pain." He goes, "What are you talking about?" I go, "I'm in a lot of pain." He goes, "I gave you pain meds." I go, "I don't take them." He goes, "What?" And I proceeded to tell him.
Yeah.
And then "Oh man, you're over exaggerating." I said, "Dude, let me tell you something. It's my prerogative. I don't take them." Now let me tell you something. Let me tell you 100 stories of guys that stubbed their toe that I dealt with, that got Oxycontin and codeine and now they're either dead, they had wives, they had kids, they had businesses, they had everything, and just gone, man, living in vans. I bought their bikes, How do you know it's not going to happen to me,
Right.
Oh, I don't want to take, I don't deal with it, period. So anyway, but here's the deal. That's why I want to make the point about anti-drug.
Yeah. I'm
going to tell you what saved my life, and I mean literally saved my life, and I could be a poster child for it. Marijuana.
Yeah.
50 people told me, "Dude, smoke the chemotherapy, man. You're on edge. You're tense. You don't eat. You don't sleep. You might sleep for 10 minutes. You're waking up. You're like tense. You're depressed. You're crying. You want to kill yourself. You want to be smoke pot, Mike. Oh man, I ain't touching that shit." Finally, Bruce, my mechanic that passed away, he had some pot at home. I said, "Bruce, you know what? Bring me some pot, man." So he brings me a little film thing like this that you put 35 millimeter film with about 3 buds in it. And I used to have another shelf over there, a different one. And because my daughter, I got a pipe and I got the buds. And like one night I'm like in there like this, man, and I'm tense and I came out here, I put some of them buds, or I put a couple in the bowl. I lit it, I smoked it. Dude, it was a life-changing experience. I went inside. I went from like this to like calm. I'm laying back in that stupid-ass movie, Lethal Weapon 4, which is stupid, man. And I'm laying there watching it. I'm laughing so hard, man, I want to puke. And then I got hungry, but it was like real late at night.
Right.
And anyway, so after I found out, hey, man, it works, I went to another friend of mine, and he gave me like a Marlboro box full of joints. And then every time, I'm tense, I just come out here, light a joint, take, smoke half of it, go back in. I was eating then. I was sleeping. It literally changed my life. Like, it was like, man, it was insane. But
you're not the first person I've heard that from. So, and I think there's a lot to that. The healthcare industry isn't in the business.
No, dude, I'm telling you. I mean, but see, here's the problem. Bottom line, you know it and I know it.
Yeah.
It works, man. But there's one big problem. There's so many assholes out there exploiting it, wanting to get rich,
Of course.
That's what's ruining it.
Of course.
The honest guys that are doing, like that little girl I seen on TV having all them seizures, and these guys are like college students that have degrees, and they got, they do. It's in Colorado, but they made this formula out of marijuana that you don't get high. But this girl was having seizure after seizure after seizure after seizure after seizure, and they gave it to her. Stopped.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the legit guys, but there's so many people. That's what kills the whole, you know what I mean? So anyway, back to the cancer. People are coming in here. I'm getting, I'm now I'm feeling a lot better. I'm down to my last sessions, Well, people are coming in here and, the word got out I got cancer, and they're like, "Man, Mike, what kind of cancer?" I go, "B-cell lymphoma, man, stage 3. Wow, that's crazy. My mom had that, She went into remission, and then 7 years later, she came back out and died within 6 months. Wow. This guy comes in. Yeah, my uncle had that. Told me the same. 20 people told me that same story. So Jonathan Blitzer, who we became friends, he came over here with his son. I showed him my shop. I went in for my appointment, and I said, "Jonathan, do me a favor, man. Don't bullshit me. Don't beat around the bush. Don't tell me any kind of crap." And then I told him what these people said. Okay? And he goes, "Mike, this is what's happening. Yes, in 7 years, your cancer's good. He goes, you got the easiest curable cancer, but in 7 years it comes back with vengeance. It goes right into your spine, into your bone marrow, and we can keep you alive for 6 months on chemo. I said, well, when it happens, you can keep the chemo.
Yeah.
I'm not going to die, you know. Anyway, 7 years it came back. I'm like, mother. But it's weird, man. Instead of going into my spine, it went back into my tumor. And I got real sick, and then I went to see him, and he goes, yeah, it's back, and the tumor's growing. And then I had to do, okay, he told me, he goes, Mike, well, here's the good part. You're going to do the non-aggressive chemo. Your hair's not going to fall out. But what he didn't tell me was the side effects. So I had to do like every 3 weeks, do chemo, and then I had to do it for 30 days straight. Man, it was horrible, man. You know,
That's crazy.
that's why I just cut all my hair off. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, but
Yeah.
you know, it's life. You got to, you know. See, the thing about it is, look, it's life. It's what you're dealt. I'm not going to sit and cry. I don't feel sorry for myself. I don't, you know, I kick ass and take names. That's, you know, that's how you beat. I work, man, you know.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, oh, man, oh, God, man, I don't know. Well, you know what? If you got that attitude, this disease is going to take you over. You're done. Everybody be going to your funeral. But like I say, you know, I just, whatever, man.
You're not ready to throw in the towel.
No, I'm not. And I'm not going to, like I say, you know, I just kick ass and take names, you know, and yeah, exactly.
So, I did want to ask you something. There's a lot of people who are starting or who have been building bikes who are, you know, kind of, I would say of my generation, you know, the 30s and 40s. And if there was one piece of advice that you could give to them, given your life experience and your perspective of being around bikes, I didn't ask you about clubs or anything like that,
Right.
but just being around motorcycles and the culture, what would your advice be?
My advice, well, I stopped building bikes for people because, I mean, I've had nothing but bad experiences when I do it, because I got people that come in here that's got champagne taste with a beer budget, and you know, they quick example, the Terminator bike. I bought the drivetrain out of it.
Okay.
And this is just a quick, for instance, type deal.
Yeah.
I put it in a Craft Tech rigid, not a rigid, but like a soft tail frame, and I was just going to assemble it and sell it. Guy comes in, wants to buy it. Well, how much complete? I said 13 grand. You know, but I'm not talking about nice.
Right.
Anyway, he gives me a $5,000 down payment. The guy knows nothing about nothing when it comes to a bike. He brings me this, and this. I put it on. You know, like, what color do you want it? He goes, I got to go. Anyway, he went to an Easy Rider show. And he brought me a picture of a bike. He goes, Mike, this is the color, man. This is what color I want it. Can you do it? I go, yeah. I can have my paint guy Gary color match it. You know, so I do that. And I get the paint. It's all ready to go. Got everything prepped, ready to shoot. He calls me up. He goes, hey, Mike. He goes, you know what? Forget that first color, man. I'll tell you what. I got this other color. I'm gonna bring. I go, whoa, dude. I already bought the paint, everything. Oh, come on, Mike, dude, come on. And now they're my friend, right? Yeah, man, hey, come on, buddy. Comes up here with another, and like an idiot, I go, okay, you know what? I can use this on something else. I buy the other paint. Well, okay, we get all through that, and it's just is going on and on and on and on. Well, one day, and I'm not getting any more money, and I've already got way more than $5 grand in this bike, and one of his buddies come in here, and he goes, hey, Mike, he goes, you know, I was talking to he thinks you ripped him off for his $5 grand because the bike's taking so long. I said, what? Anyway, the guy leaves. I get on the phone. I said, look, man, you son of a bitch, get your fucking ass down here right now, pick up your deposit, and get out of my shop. Oh, man, how come he comes down? I said, listen to me, man. When you have a house, and you hire a contractor to come in, Now, everybody hearing this program, if they don't know what I'm talking about, get out of the business.
Right.
Okay? You got a house. You hire a contractor. And the guy's halfway through the job, and you go, no, man, I want to change it up. I want to do it. Instead of that, well, I want to take that, and I want to do that. I want to do, well, yeah, no problem. The guy goes right out and work. He makes what they call a change order.
Yeah.
And you pay for every, well, in the bike business, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a different, no, dude, well, like I say, I'm done. No, I mean, everything you see around you, I mean, don't get me wrong. I built a shitload of bikes, but it used to be, I'd get a motor, a tranny, I'd put it in the bike, and if somebody would come in and give me a deposit, and I'd finish it, go through it. I don't do that no more.
Right.
Now, if I'm working on a bike and you want to buy it, I'll sell it to you when it's done.
Yeah.
So when you walk in here and it's finished, and you pay me for it in full, now you go, hey, Mike, you know what, dude? I don't really like it. Well, no problem, dude. Come on in. I'll write out a work order, and you pay me for everything you want me to change, because this buddy, hey, man, hey, man, I thought we were friends. Hey, man, or here's the deal. It's like, hey, Mike, hey, Mike, how long will it take to build me a bike? I said, how long will it take to give me the money?
Right. Good answer.
And how many changes are we going to have to go through?
Yeah.
And it got to the point to where, people would call me about building, and I would just quote them the most astronomical price on the planet. Not, just so I don't want to be rude to them, but anymore, no. Let me tell you guys, let me tell everybody listening where the money's at. If you want to make money in this business, it's the in and out. It's not fabricating. It's not building frames. It's not building show bikes. It's oil changes, in and out. Boom, bam, one day. You sit around, man, you're working on one thing for 8 weeks, man, and you're going to make this much money. Well, in 8 weeks, you can do 50 oil changes, adjust, do services, do that, boom, in and out in the same day.
Yeah.
That's where the money, I mean, believe me, I've been in this business longer than most people's been alive, and I know. I used to, bike building there, man. No, man, like I say, I do my own thing. And in between the services and in between, the money coming in, man, I just bought all these frames from Craft Tech. I've got motors, I've got trannies, I've got front ends, I got fork, I got shit laying everywhere in the shop. Well, I'll put them in, the motors in, the tran. Now, if you want to come in here and you want to buy this bike, I will sell you this bike from the bare frame. I'll sell it to you with a motor and tranny in it. I'll sell it to you with a motor, tranny, all the clutch, and I'll sell it to you with everything. Like I said, you put it together, you deal, But as far as building it, ain't going to happen. unless it's done, it's sitting here finished, running, registered, ready to go, and then you pay me in cash what I want, and then like I say, you want to change it, no problem. We make out a work order and just start over,
So your advice to people listening is, basically, if you're going to build it for yourself, and not for other people.
Yeah, exactly. Or I mean, don't get me wrong. There's people out there that'll pay exorbitant money for bikes, but they've never came in here. They want free or next to free, or change this, do this, that. Man, no, it just ain't. But I will tell you this: the new generation of bike builders, like the kids from Born Free and all, they're amazing. The stuff they're building is beyond. I mean, that's the stuff. I got to tell you, from the day I got into the sea, back in the day, it went like this. See, it went from the style it is now, barber type bikes, and then it went into choppers with the big Springer front ends and everything. Well, I mean. And back in the B&O days, Tom Burke, there was everything was handmade. Everything was like, just insane.
Yeah.
Right? There was the master builders, but it did a turnaround. We're back to the barbers, but the I call them the kids. This generation that's doing it are amazing. Even metric bikes. I see them.
Yeah.
I can't believe them. They're absolutely matte black, slammed. Just incredible, man. I
Yeah.
mean, I see them at the swap meet. But that's great. See, if you could build something like that, and then somebody wants it, and you say, "Hey, man,
Yeah.
I want this much money for it," they say, "Okay, man, let's do it."
Yeah.
But if you're building it and somebody comes in, well, I don't exactly want this, and what, can we change that? Hey, what about, can we do this? Hey, well, can we do this? Was it
Yeah.
waste of time, but
I wasn't building it for you.
yeah, it's like, but believe me, it's pretty insane.
Well, Mike? I think I know the answer to this, but what's your plan from here on out for you? I mean, considering taking your cancer into consideration and all aspects of your life, what's your plan with the shop and kind of your life? I know it's kind of a real broad question, but
No, it's I can tell you exactly. Here, I mean, it's not a problem, but here's the deal. See, I would love to get up off this chair and never work on a bike again. And I'm not, but see, the problem is, it's not really a problem. I'm actually I'm actually blessed because of what I got and what I've achieved. But like I say, at the same time, for me to sell out, it would be astronomical money, and it would take. I mean, I'll probably wind up, hitting the floor someday, and not, just right here. But I just have too much stuff to be able to, First of all, you'd have to find somebody that's got buku bucks to buy it.
Yeah.
And then here's another thing. Is I had a buyer like a while, well, not a while back, but quite a while back. But he told me, he says, "Mike, here's the bottom line." And this guy had cash, and I'm not lying to you, but here's the bottom line, Mike. When you go, the business will go. So you got. I mean, you got to be on top of this, 100,000%. But
Yeah.
no, I love. Don't get me wrong, I love. Considering I never dreamed in my wildest dreams ever that back in the day, back in the day when you can. Well, here, for instance, like this. Look, my landlord, Jack, bought a box stock 1966 generator shovelhead police bike. Took it over to. This is long before I was in that shop.
okay.
Over to Smitty's Auto Parts. Put it in the back room because he was a good mechanic, and he tore it down to the bare frame. Now get ready for this, because I'm not lying. I'm telling you the God's truth. He took everything to that bike, including the original 66 gas tanks, which came out 1 year only, with the fuel valve on the right side. The whole complete bike, the Y-Glide, the spotlights, the handlebars, the swing arm frame, the swing arm, the banana brakes, the front and rear wheels, and threw every bit of it in a dumpster.
Wow.
Threw it away. And then there used to be a company called AEE. It was where they got the big chopper and the twisted springer with a little. And he kept the motor and transmission only.
Wow.
Everything, the clutches, everything, in or out of primary, threw it in the trash and built, a chopper. But
That's crazy.
like I say, back in those days, man, if I told you, man, you don't have enough time for me to tell you what this,
there might be a Mike O'Brien part 2
Man,
episode.
actually, to tell you the truth, I love to write a book. I had a very good friend of mine who's a fireman, and anyway, we were talking one day, and I'd like to write a book, and "You Can't Make This Shit Up" would be the title, and getting into the real 100% end of this business. It ain't a, like taking it, like, see, the way I consider my business is like, it's the most important thing in my life. I mean, I have my daughter and, but my business is like, you go to work and you work for a tow truck company, or you go to work and I go to work and I work. This ain't a glamour thing. I'm not some guy going, "Hey man, I own a Harley shop." This is what I do for a living.
Yeah.
And, man, I could tell you stories that it's amazing. And here's the thing, and Tony will tell you, and everybody that works for me will tell you, I don't care. In this business, I do not, and like I say, anything I do, I'm a 1,000% cash buyer or cash, whatever it is. It's $100 bills. I don't even want a receipt. Just do it. And in this business, doesn't matter, dude. It's like, it's like, oh well, Other businesses, they kill. I mean, okay, not to sound conceited, but if I had somebody like me when I was living in a one-car garage that would step up and go, hey, man, I need this, I'll pay it in cash. I'd be on it like, well, I'm hurting, but I don't know, man. I don't want to work Tuesday. I don't want to work Wednesday.
Right.
I open at 1 o'clock. Well, I'm taking a week. I'm taking my vacation, and it's like, it's insane, man.
I think you could probably agree with this, and I think this is what you're alluding to, is that there's definitely a shift in attitude and work ethic, I think, across the board.
1,000%.
From your generation to this generation.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And let me explain something to you. I'll put it in plain English. I got a 6th grade education. I came up the hard way, and I could tell you, man, it'd knock you off that chair. There is so many more people out there that are so much more talented than me, that is so much better mechanic than me, that is so much. But here's the problem. I don't give a shit who you are. I don't care how good you are. I don't care if you're a master painter, an artist, whatever, a fabricator, a bike builder, a car builder. I'm going to tell you right now, which makes me a total success in every aspect, and I can work till the day I die, no problem, is because of my work ethics. If you don't have the right work ethics and you don't have the right attitude and no business, forget about it, man. Forget about it. And you don't have enough time to tell that I could tell you how many people I dealt with like that, and guys I've hired, right? Okay, here, let's talk about hiring. Guys I've hired, man, and best of the best. For about 2 weeks, and then they got drug problems, they got women problems. Supposed to be here at 11 o'clock, or 11. I don't open till 11, but I'm up when the sun comes up, running around doing the bookkeeping, the counting, the chrome, 1 o'clock. You're standing around.
No mechanic.
Yeah, no mechanic. It's insane.
Yeah, that's a problem. My dad ran his own business for 9 years, and the hardest thing he had was people paying their bills. Like you said, he would extend them, credit for 30 days or net 30, net 15, and nobody would pay.
Oh, I know.
He ended up closing the doors because of that.
Yeah, exactly. You can't.
But he had that work ethic, that same work ethic. He was there for 18 hours a day working that shop.
Whatever it takes, like last night I went to Fast Ed's and picked up some stuff I bought off of them, some different, like some nuts and bolts and a bunch of stuff. And, 10 o'clock at night, I don't care, man. I get it done. I got it, But a lot of guys, I don't want to do that. Man, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll wait till I don't. Well, there it is, man,
Meanwhile, you're there, got it done, and they're still waiting.
Yep, exactly. So that's how you do it,
Yeah. Mike, I'm sure, and like you said, we could fill like some volumes and maybe even a book with advice and experiences. But I just want to thank you for being on the show, and
no problem.
I appreciate your time.
Cool, yeah, and anytime, and like I say, maybe I'll write that book. You can't make this shit up.
I like the title.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's been an amazing life. It's been a trip. It's been an adventure because I deal with. That's another thing that really is cool because I deal with so many different aspects, like clubs, everybody. I deal with everybody, and I met a lot of good people down the road. I met a lot of bad, but mostly good, and met a lot of good friends, and it's been pretty cool.
That's awesome. Would you mind if we walked around a little bit? I'll grab the camera and just walk around. You can give us a tour of your shop.
Yeah, I don't mind.
All right, cool. I'll keep this running.
This is the shop area right here. This is where it all happens. And then, these are some finished bikes we did. These are some, Harley starter kits I was talking about. This is a parts room back here. Just parts back here. And then here, let's go out here. I'll show you the. Here, come on out here. This is my my parts room and bike room here. This is all like parts, different bikes. Yeah, this is all, you know, motors, trannies, drivetrains, 4 speeds, 5 speeds. Yeah, I even got 3-speed with reverse. You know,
Wow.
like, you know, a lot of different stuff.
So if guys are looking for parts, this is the place to come.
This is the place, because if I don't have it, I'll get it. But yeah, this ain't, I mean, I got garages full of stuff and trailers full of stuff, and yeah, I got a lot of stuff, believe me, a lot.
And these bikes may not be here, but you do have some import bikes, some metric bikes that that you picked up that they are currently for sale.
Absolutely, every one of them. They're 20. I got 2014s, 0 miles. I got 500 Hondas. I got 500R. I got a little 250 Suzuki. This has got 1 mile on it.
Wow.
This one here, this is a Ninja 300 ABS. This has got 4 miles on it. Yeah, I just picked them up. I picked up a bunch of them. So, and I'm selling them like $3,500 out the door, and they're brand new.
They're brand new, but they were the dealership had a fire,
Right,
so
the
they have
dealership- yeah,
salvage titles. But these bikes are in great condition.
No, they're brand new. Absolutely. I mean, if you want a bike that'll last you for the rest of your life, unless you beat it up, these are the ones. They're 0 miles. Yeah, they're brand new. I mean, they still have the braking oil in them.
That's pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
if you're looking for a bike, come see Mike.
Oh, yeah.
There's your promotion. If you're looking for a bike, come see Mike.
Well, I got everything from, you know, Jesse James, West Coast Choppers, to Eric Wilson Sublime. I got his bike. You know, Police Road Kings. I got, you know, you name it. You know, so yeah, stop by.
Well, that's awesome, Mike. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
And we'll be talking to you soon.
Oh yeah, absolutely.